time now for business. Nona Peltier's joined me in the studio. Mentioned there of Mainzeal, Nona. So you've been talking to the liquidators today.
Yeah, they're people that were acting for the creditors. So that's BDO. And I was speaking with one of the liquidators, Andrew Bethel, and he said, well, it's disappointing for the creditors. Their legal team is now reviewing their options with a view to cross-appealing. He said one of the options on the table is the potential for asking the directors to pay an even heftier fine. Because he said that the creditors are really have been out of pocket for a long time, and now they're going to wait even longer for some settlement.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to drag on for a while. What about this drop in consumer confidence in Australia being felt by companies here as well?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. So we've had some interesting reports, not just Australia, but consumer confidence generally has been falling in other key markets. For example, in the tourism sector, we've seen, of course, you can imagine with Brexit, consumer confidence isn't what it used to be in the UK. It certainly isn't what it used to be in Australia and in the United States too, and well, also Europe. And those key markets are, you know, that's where our tourists come from, and they're not coming here in the numbers that they were before. They're not expected to. So growth in tourism, for example, is likely to take a hit. These are the numbers of tourists. We're going to still have a tourism industry that's growing, but not as fast because of consumer confidence. Now, in particular, Australia has also affected the bottom line profits of companies like Urbano Healthcare, which is basically a company that is the dentist. So you might know Lumino.
Yes,
and in Australia, they've got Maven. And in Australia, their profits have been hurt there. Now, what their business model is basically buying up dental practices and then bringing them under their brand, and then that's how they add value for shareholders. Well, they've taken a pause in Australia because of the situation there. It's not just that consumer confidence is down, but also, you know, the expectations of people there are wanting a higher price for their practices. It's not a great situation. Also, Kathmandu, which has a large exposure to the Australian retail sector, has also had a, you know, poorer, is it a full year? I think it was a full year result today. And that, oh, it's actually a 6-month result. And that's also been a drag on their result, that the Australian retail sector is not as strong as it has been. And it wasn't so strong also in New Zealand. And if it wasn't for their investment in the United States, definitely would have had a far less spectacular result. They did make a profit of $14 million in the 6 months to January, but it gained $29 million in earnings from one of their investment in North America. It's the Oboz footwear company. So yeah, interesting times.
So we're having trickle across rather than trickle down.
Yeah,
kind of scenario.
And I guess we can expect some of that to continue for some time because it's not getting any better there. And I think that the next, you know, from the information that we're getting and gathering from economists around the world, that we are going to see growth continue to slow at least into the second quarter of this year globally.
And our markets today.
Yeah, so despite all of that, our market rose 0.5% by 56 points, I have to say, to 9,575, which is another record close. And don't ask me exactly why that is. It's hard to know. The dollar is trading at steady, still 69.1 US cents, 97 Australian and 52.4.
Hovering around those same figures.
Same figures,
yep.
Pretty strong.
Thanks, Nona. That's Nona Peltier with Business.